The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
It's coming.
All these voices. All these voices.
They're not yours. You had no right to them when you were alive, and you have no right to them when you're dead.
That's what it sounded like.
Good, you know who I am. And you know I'm not playing. You're going to let those women go. In Jesus' name, you're going to let those women go.
Is there a demon here watching us right now? I'm just watching us right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
How's everybody going tonight, and how's everybody doing, Misfits?
Tonight's show is going to be pretty interesting. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something very strange. Something very, well, just freaking weird. Let's just call it what it is. It's freaking weird. My wife found this documentary, and it tripped her out. And she said, "Hun, you gotta check this shit out. This is crazy." And so I watched it with her, and it was absolutely crazy. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Breatharians. Now, some of you, I'm sure, because this audience is pretty smart, some of you already know what this group is about. But for those who don't, it's a group of people who believe that they do not have to eat and they do not have to drink, that they can gather all of their nourishment simply by breathing. They believe that there is a energy source of the universe called prana, and that by breathing they take in this prana and it nourishes their body and they don't have to drink or eat. Now, on the face of it, it sounds stupid. Point blank. Sounds dumb as hell, because we know that you can't survive without at least drinking water. You can go a decent amount of time without eating. You know, the general rule in survival is 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. That's the general rule. Now, the reality of that rule is a little more flexible than just that. There are people who can hold their breath a lot longer than 3 minutes. There's some people that go like 7-8 minutes. But it's a general guideline. You know, I've told you before that 3 days without water I don't think is accurate either, completely, because it may take you 3 days to die, but after day one, you're in hurting status, man. You got massive headaches. You're probably going to start throwing up sometime during that day because you're going to get very nauseous without water, and you're just in bad shape. The 3 weeks without food, that's kind of flexible as well. If you're one of those skinny model types, then yeah, 3 weeks is probably your limit. You're going to be pretty bad off. But if you're a big old fat guy, you can probably go a lot more than 3 weeks without eating and just living off your stored fat. But these people supposedly don't ever eat and don't ever drink. Now, in this documentary, they showed multiple people who were kind of the quote-unquote gurus of Breatharianism. Each one of them, when they were actually tested, failed. People tried to set up tests to where they put them in an enclosed environment, to where they were like locked into a room and being watched by medical personnel. And they weren't allowed to eat or drink because that was their claim, that they could go without eating or drinking. Each one of them tried, and each one of them failed. Their numbers got really, really bad because they were coming in and doing wellness checks on them and taking like their blood pressure and all of those kind of, medical numbers and seeing what their heart rate was and all of that. And in each case, after a couple of days, they had to call the experiment because they said, this is not safe. These people, their numbers are horrible and they might die at any second. So we got to stop. In each case, they said that the reason that their numbers got worse and that they were not able to properly survive without food and water was because they weren't able to breathe the fresh air. That being in an enclosed environment, they did not have access to the prana that nourished their bodies. And without the prana, they couldn't survive. So they said, okay, let's move you then, and let's do it in an outdoor environment to where you have access to that, a nice country setting where you have the perfect air. And they still failed. So every attempt to scientifically prove that this is a real thing has failed, and failed miserably. So you might say that I should just right now say it's complete bullshit and that it's not a real thing. But I've also seen some accounts of one guy in India and one girl, I think she was in Ethiopia. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that because it's been a while since I saw the videos. But I believe it's Ethiopia. But they haven't eaten or drank for years. And even the prime minister of the country recognized that she wasn't eating and drinking and like made a big deal out of it. So there have been people that have actually went there to visit with this girl and spend a day or two with her and see if she ever ate or drank, and she never did. She would cook for her family and they would eat and drink, but she never took a drop of liquid and she never ate anything the whole time they were there. That's what they say. They didn't have the camera on her, 24 hours a day, but they are claiming that she never ate or drank while they were there. So does that mean that there might be something to this, or are they just faking? I would say if you put a gun to my head and I had to make a guess, I would say most likely they're full of shit. Okay, I think probably they're faking this whole thing because it's just not physically possible. Your body needs hydration or you die. Your body needs calories. It needs nutrients. Now they claim they get this from the prana, but how does the prana hydrate you as well? Are you sucking in moisture from the atmosphere or something? Like a dehumidifier would? Is that what's going on? Or is it just complete and total BS? Are they just completely conning everybody? Now, another interesting thing that I watched was this little old lady on YouTube bought into this Breatharian stuff. And she believed that she could only breathe and not eat or drink, and that was going to work. And she wanted to prove it to the entire world. So she set up an experiment on her YouTube channel to where she was going to go without food and water for an extended period of time to prove that it was possible. So she started to do that, but then she decided, well, I'm going to drink. I'm going to drink water, but I'm not going to eat food. So she changed it. And then she decided, well, I'm going to have tea, but I'm not going to eat food. So she changed it again. But she stuck with that of only having like tea and I think maybe juice and water and no food. And she was going to run this experiment for like 30 days and see what would happen. And as you watch the videos, you can see her get progressively worse. You can see her losing a lot of weight. You can see her looking tired and haggard and just generally unwell. And as the videos go, she's not even capable anymore of talking for a long period of time. She'll start talking on the video and it'll go a couple minutes and she'll say, okay, I need to go lay down because I'm getting really lightheaded and I don't feel well and I'm overexerting myself and I just need to go lie down for a little while. So finally, she decided that she wasn't going to do the experiment anymore because everybody in the comment section was just screaming that she's going to kill herself doing this. It is stupid. Stop it. It's all bullshit. You're being lied to. You're going to end up committing suicide doing this. And as she got progressively worse, her health got progressively worse. I guess she realized that those people were right, and that she couldn't just breathe and survive, that she had to have water and food. But she was having water, so I guess she realized that you couldn't live without food either. So she called it and said, she's not going to do the experiment anymore. But the weird thing was, she didn't say that those people were right. Instead, she claimed that she still believed it was possible, but that it was just hard. And it was too difficult for her at her age to do it. But that she believed that somebody could do it, that there are people that do it, but she couldn't do it because she just wasn't strong enough or whatever. So she didn't admit, hey, this is BS. I've tried the experiment myself now, and I can see that it doesn't work, that it's absolute bunk. So I'm going to say right now it's bullshit, right? She didn't do that. Instead, like I said, she claimed that it was possible, that it wasn't a lie, but just she wasn't strong enough to do it, which is very, very weird. So I want to ask Old Boy, one, has he ever even heard of this? And two, if he has, what are his thoughts on it? So Old Boy, you want to chime in on that, brother?
I've heard you tell me about it before. I heard about the guru and that hadn't eaten for so many years, and they said that they've done, and they claiming he's still alive. And I seen that, just like the guy had his hand, but that's true. The guy hasn't put his hand down in 30 years, and he just sits there like this. I don't know if you've seen that. He said it's to Buddha. I think whatever. I don't know what their god is in India. Hindu, I think, yeah, Hinduism. So and that's true, because you see his hand and it's all like, there's all bone, and he's just like sitting there like that forever. And you remember Buddha didn't eat for so many months or something like that. I believe maybe a month or so or two, but it's probably some bullshit again, dude. It sounds like another one of these bullshit fly by night, you're going to live forever kind of stuff that was going on. Like, remember in the 70s and 80s, just, you drink the Kool-Aid, they thought they were going to go to another planet, and they were full of shit. That's what it sounds like. Now with the Buddhist thing, I don't want to say that because, I don't know, but I don't believe it. Just like the little girl you're talking about, because my opinion is, if they didn't have the cameras on, why? If you're trying to prove something, you want people to fucking see it. Not all because I said it happened. Trust me, it's probably bullshit. And you probably agree with me. I just don't think it's possible. I mean, I believe people could probably live without eating for maybe a month and a half. If you drink water and like you said, juice. And there's people who juice all the time, so that makes sense. If you're juicing, you don't really have to eat. You're getting your nutrients from that. You're getting, in vegetables, you can grind up vegetables and you're still getting nutrients. In reality, that, I believe, that's because you're still getting stuff in your body. You're getting vitamins, you're still drinking fluids. Now, eating, like I said, if you're not eating for if you're skinny, like you said, you're probably not going to live longer. The only difference is, though, if you're heavier, you're probably going to suffer more than somebody who's skinnier, because you're so hungry all the time. It's going to be like a living hell. So that's the other downfall of that, but you will probably live about a week longer. But majority of people can only be under the water for 3 to 4 minutes. Yes, and usually people could do 5 or 6 minutes or 7 minutes. They're divers. They've built their lungs up to do that. I mean, some people, I can do mine for 3.5, 4 minutes. I've done before, but I almost died. I was like, oh God, I can't breathe. Fuck. But yeah, I couldn't do it now, especially after getting COVID. My lungs are fucked. And I'd probably be like 2 minutes. I'd be like, fuck. But that's just my opinion. I don't. It just sounds like another bunch of bullshit to me, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I hate saying everything's 100% false. We don't know that. It just sounds like if they failed the test and then they went outside and failed the test, then that means there's something going on, that it's not what they're fucking saying, and it's probably bullshit, and you get people believing. And I think you're all right there, James. But
yeah, I'm good. I something like what the hell it was.
Maybe maybe all that talk about this, you're gonna the fetus system is taking you, it's getting pissed off at you, and they're gonna take you away. You're not gonna eat anymore. I'm sorry. If that's the way it's gonna be, I can't live without eating, man. I like pizza and I like peanut butter and Reese's and all that shit. I couldn't do that, man. I'd rather be dead, dude, because I can't. I love pizza and the food too much, and I know you do too, brother.
Yeah, you messed me up, brother. You're making fun of the Hindus, and that Hindu guy with all them damn arms come after me, and swinging at me and shit. I don't know what it was, man. I don't see anything in here at all. Like, I'm in my studio, I don't see anything in here. Like, but I felt something fly past my head, and there's nothing. I mean, behind me you can see the steering logo. There's a giant green screen behind me. Like, nothing can fly past my giant. That thing takes up the entire room. So there's no way in hell anything flew by and didn't hit my green screen and isn't still there. But like, literally, there's freaking nothing there. So I don't know what it was. Maybe I'm just old and crazy. But another weird thing is, like, the guy that originally made this popular in the United States was actually during the 70s. It's funny that you mentioned that. And he got busted eating at McDonald's. Like, he was pretending like he didn't eat or drink, but he would order room service all the time. And he got busted with his room service. Somebody sold his ass out, and he got busted in a McDonald's once. So then he changed the rules that you could exist on only piranha and double cheeseburgers from McDonald's because he liked those so much. And then he said, when everybody called him out on that shit, he said, "Oh, well, I don't eat because I need to eat for nourishment. I'm eating just for the enjoyment of eating." And that's something that a lot of these people say too. That when they get caught eating, they say, "Oh, I'm just eating for the enjoyment of tasting it, just for the experience. But I don't need to eat, but I'm just doing it that way." Then you got a whole nother group that I want to talk about as well. And these people are almost the same because they believe that they can draw all of their nourishment from the sun. Now, I don't remember what they're called. Like, I could look it up, but it doesn't really matter what the name is. But it's kind of the exact same thing, to where they believe that they don't have to eat, they don't have to drink, that they can literally take all of the solar energy and convert it in their body to energy to keep them alive. And it's funny because if you look at the way everything we eat is made, okay? In a way, every single one of us lives off of solar energy. Every one of us do. Because whether you are a vegetarian like me, or whether you're a meat eater, or whatever you eat, everything is made by plants. Okay, plants take sunlight and they turn that sunlight into plant growth, into biomass in the form of plants. Now, you can either eat those plants, or an animal comes along and eats the plant, taking that energy from the sun that was turned into biomass, and now they're turning it into energy to fuel their body. So then you eat that animal. So in a way, you are kind of surviving off of solar energy. That is in a way true. But it's kind of like a lawyered kind of way that it's true, because you're not actually just sitting out there sunbathing and getting your energy from the sun like a plant and turning it into the nutrients that you need. But everything you eat in nature, whether it's plants or animals, all starts out as solar energy in the beginning. And plants convert it, and then animals eat the plants, and then we eat the animals. So that one, I think there's a tiny nugget of truth to, but it's kind of a lawyer truth. You know what I mean? It's not like the real truth. It's just like a technicality that everything's kind of solar energy in the beginning. But this show, I kind of wanted to talk about the Breatharians, obviously, because it was interesting, but also just a lot of this new age kooky shit that we see all the time. Now, I'm a child of the 70s. I was born in 1974. So when I was growing up, you had a lot of this stuff going around. There were tons of gurus everywhere. Everybody was on this spiritual journey to find enlightenment from this guru or that guru. Yoga became popular. Everybody was getting into that. And so that was kind of the scene back then, because you're coming out of the hippie movement of the 60s, and everybody kind of wanted to find something to believe in, you know? And so that's when a lot of this new age stuff really started hitting this country. But now with technology the way it is, there's a whole new generation of new age bullshit out there. And the main place you find it now is on YouTube and TikTok. You find it on Instagram too, and Twitter, obviously, or X. But the main sources of video is YouTube and TikTok. And you have a lot of this kind of stuff going on to where people are making all kinds of outlandish claims. Now, I know Old Boy watches a ton of TikTok. You won't find him without a phone in his hand watching TikTok most times. So I wanted to ask him, because he's always messaging me and say, you see this crazy shit on TikTok, man? What are some of your favorite new age bullshit things that you've seen on social media? Because I know you've seen some, because you've told me about several of them.
Well, just one thing, I wasn't making fun of Hindu, because I know people who are Hindu and they're into Buddhism and stuff in yoga. I that's not what I was saying. What he was saying earlier, it's some of the stuff I see on TikTok, and just I wanted to clarify that, is there's people who think they're fucking psychics, and every fucking week the world's coming to an end, and and then they'll have some guy, he'll have a scary ass song on, and like some magical song or something evil, and they'll take it from a movie, and he'll talk all like, yes, on June 6th the world is going to blow up, and some dude that told me at a Jack in a Box at 12 a.m. said that if we don't get on our hands and knees and pray to the Zing Zang God, that we're all going to blow up. And June 6th comes, and then June 7th. So I'm just showing you an example. A lot of it is people arguing about religion altogether. Like, if you ever go, and just so you know, I hate TikTok because of all the misinformation that happens. I advertise the show, and I do videos, and James does for the paranormal stuff, and it's free advertising. So that's why one of the main reasons I go on there. That's just being honest. But I like watching all the bullshit. Like, one of the biggest ones is Joe Rogan. He always has somebody on there saying it, you know, what was it? They got from Antarctica, they got the last megalodon, and they're hiding it in some cave and some laboratory and all this. And the other one is he had Joe Rogan. It was the guy came from the jungle, cut his arm open, and he took a thing of an eel, like the intestines of the eel, and put it in his arm, and he stitched it up, and then it healed like 5 days later, and he was running around like superhuman strength. And then what was it? The one where they laid down, it was a 100-foot snake. Now, I could believe a 100-foot snake. It's just, I'm just showing you examples. I see a lot of people fighting over Satanism. One is like I said, people got to realize most Satanists don't even believe in the devil. It's just that they believe opposite, and it pisses off Christians, and that's what they like to do. There is some people who do actually believe in the devil, and there's some people who just do it to be cool, or they'll get 100,000 likes, and you could tell what they're doing. And I'm not, and this is coming and look at it. This is what I believe, bro. Like, I see a lot of this, and it's goth people. I have no problem with goth, but I see a lot of people just doing it to become famous because they get TikTok famous. But a lot of the religion stuff is, I see somebody, they'll have like an altar, and they'll have like some scary music going on TikTok. And ding dong ding, and I have no problem with it. I'm not making fun of people's religion. Trust me, that's not what I'm doing. But I know some of it's just, but if you give me $30 in the next 10 minutes, or you share this page, this is the best one. And I've seen it with Christian ones. I've seen it with every religion, Muslim, Jew. If this God's going to bless you with $500,000 in the next 10 minutes, if you send this and share it and like my page and send me a $5 donation. And this is the shit that I see. And if you hear the ding right now, hurry up and download it in 2 minutes or you're going to have bad luck for 7 years. It's this is dumb shit like this, and people believe it. Just like somebody sent me something about Coca-Cola and soda. If you leave it in the garage and it gets over 86 out, it gets toxic. I looked it up. When you work at my friend works at Coca-Cola. It's hot. It's not fucking cold when they stack the fucking shit. It's hot, 100 fucking degrees. As long as it doesn't get over 100 degrees, then it's not really supposed to. They have it at temperature. But I'm telling you, when you're in those warehouses, it gets hot, especially in California. It gets 100 degrees in there. That's another. And I sent her the fucking proof of it. And I said, please don't listen to TikTok. Because if you're going to listen to TikTok, and I'm not saying everything's wrong, we would already been dead 10 trillion times. We've already gone in time 17 times, and other ones is like when you get people who are doing like they went back in time in the year 2043 and they're all, look, there's a McDonald's here, and then there's a Burger King here, but somebody's flying out of it. You can tell. Or the one where the guy's on back in time in 1969. Don't you see there's like a Radio Shack, but you can see it's just like a sign and he doesn't want to show the whole thing. And that's another thing. People are actually thinking we went back in time, and they believe these people are coming from another time. We've done shows about that. One guy, he said he was from the future or something. And there's people doing that. And then what's the back rooms? That's the good one, where you show the guy, they show a hole in the middle of the ground, they jump in there, and all of a sudden this weird ass fucking radioactive creature chases them around a fucking supermart. It's like super 10 miles long, and they run around, and then all of a sudden you'll see like water in yellow rooms, and they're fucking escaping, and then they'll jump, and there's a monster coming after them. It's I don't think people really know what the hell to believe anymore. I think they just see so much shit, they don't know what to believe altogether. So then if they see somebody that says, like he was talking about, a religion says you don't have to eat, you could be out in the sun, and some of that is true because you need sun, vitamin D. But you're not going to live off of the sun. Yeah, he's right. There's a technicality on some stuff. Yeah, like solar. But other than that, I'm sorry. If you don't eat, you're going to die. If you don't drink water, you're going to die. If you don't drink, you don't sleep for like, some people can stay up 3 or 4 days, but then that, if you can stay up, you can go crazy. Not like the experiments on, what was it? What was that? The one that does Slender Man. What was that show? Creepypasta, where they did the experiments, and after 3 months, they turned into weird ghouls and ate people, and their eyes went backwards. I'm like, dude, they probably died in like a week if they did that. Now, experiments were going on like that, some weird shit, but some of the stuff that people are saying and believing, I was like, you're paying these psychics and mediums who say all this shit, and I've dealt with some of them. They don't even want to deal with me because they're all like, Kimberly doesn't like doing, and Kimberly's pretty decent at it. And I feel sorry. I think her son had passed away like a year or two ago. I didn't know if I mentioned that to you. And she's been on our show a couple times, and I'm very sorry for your loss. And, but Kimberly was pretty accurate. We've had her on the show, and she can't even do anything with me because of certain things. I've had that happen. I can't even talk to mediums anymore because they said, whatever's with you just doesn't want us to talk. And I'm like, okay, fuck, you're saving me a time, and I'm not bored anymore. So, they'll talk to my wife, and she's cool with it to a point, but half the time it's 90% of the time it's bullshit. It's if you could tell the future, and if that was true, and I'm not saying you can't, I believe some people have that power. The first thing I would be doing if telling the future, I wouldn't be telling you anything. I'd be telling myself to go to Vegas and fucking bet on the sports games. I'm sorry. Hey, the Dodgers gonna win? Yeah, fucking $100,000 on the Dodgers. Am I gonna win on this jackpot? No. How about the boxing fight? Is Mike Tyson gonna knock out Jake Paul? Yes. $10 million on Mike Tyson. I mean, that's what I would be. I'm sorry, that I wouldn't be. Oh yeah, hey, $50. I'm gonna your great aunt's gonna talk to me right now and tell me, oh, you're all right. No, dude, I'm sorry, I wouldn't be doing it. I'd be like, Vegas right now, I'd be a millionaire, just like with Back to the Future too. Remember, he got that book. he went in time back in the future and he got the book and he knew it. He became a fucking millionaire. I'm sorry, that's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be pissing around telling people anything. Even if I did, I wouldn't want you to know, because look, my personal opinion is, if it's true, if you can really tell like people's what's going to happen, it like kind of ruins the moment. Then you already know what's going to happen in your life. Why wouldn't you just want it to be chance? Things happen for reasons. Then let it be. If you're meant to be with somebody, it's going to happen. If you're not, it's not. It doesn't matter. Or if you're meant to get a job or you're meant to not, it doesn't mean at the time you're going to get it. It could be a year from now. It could be 2 years from now. But it's choices you're going to make in those paths. Even some of the psychics who say stuff, they say that it's not 100%. You're going to either do it, and then there's some people, they'll call and they'll get told what to do, and they don't listen to it anyway because they don't like what they got told. So they'll call 6 other ones and get told the same shit, and they'll still do the opposite dumb shit. And that's because people are so impatient. They want things now. Their attention span's impossible to control other than a day or two, and they think everybody's going to become rich. Like they said, when you become a millionaire, you win the lottery, 80% of those people go broke because your habits are already set. You're set in blowing money. You're going to blow money even when you have more. That's why 80% of people go broke. So that's just the truth. But a lot of shit that I see on TikTok, like I said, it just makes me laugh, because every week it's the end of the world. Every week we've gone through time 600 times. The Giants are coming back, and it's the pictures from that movie with the Giants, and you could tell they took it from the movie. And it like 60 feet tall. It was from the Dragon movie with the Giants or whatever, and it was. I'm like, it's fucking from a movie, dude. The Nephilim weren't walking around with people in 1900s. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Now they found skeletons and they hid it from us, but it probably happened maybe hundreds of years ago. That's a possibility. But any of this bullshit you see now, the giant that happened in, we did the show with the red-haired giant, that really supposedly happened. And I believe there is giants like that, but they're not walking around with us. They don't like us. They want to eat you. That's I wouldn't want to hang out with a 15-foot giant anyway. There's no good coming out of that. Just like they're going to bring back the mammoth. Remember, everything's coming back. The saber-toothed tiger is going to be brought back. The mammoth is. That's going to happen. But like every time I see TikTok, it's some scary video or some scary and then they show a skinwalker and the thing changes. I'm going to tell you this. Somebody told me that, and I just had a laugh. Because we do skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are one of the most dangerous things you can mess with. I know what to do with skinwalkers because I watch Zach Baggins. Right there, when you told me that, you're fucked. When you tell me you watch Zach Baggins and you know about skinwalking, I'm not going to say anymore. Good luck, because you don't know what you're playing with. And half of these people, I'm scared to go down there. But they still fucking do. It's like a horror movie. Jason's coming with an axe. I'm going to see what's going down there in the middle of the night. If I see somebody 6'6" or 7" with a fucking ski mask, and you know who it is, because you know that there's a murderer, he keeps coming back from the dead, guns are not going to stop that. Get the fuck out of there. No, I'm not going to go look and go, hey, I wonder what that is. And then you'd end up dead with a fucking machete up your ass. So, I mean, it's just like going in the water. Right now, what I'm going to tell people, if a megalodon does exist, you're not going to want to find out. It's almost as big as your boat or bigger. And I saw people in these little rafts at night in the sea, in Cortez Sea in Mexico. I ain't going in that water, guys. You can't do shit when you're in the water. James will tell you the same thing. Water sucks. But that's what we see on TikTok. But it's always a conspiracy. It's always some kind of new theory that we're coming from. What was it? That the Star Children? That's the other one. It's coming. The Anunnaki. That's what they say. That people are half Star Children. Supposedly, my mom is. My mom has R negative blood. So they said it's not. There's a gene and it's not human. And whatever. That's it. People believe they're from the star. That they believe that they came from. I don't know what the name was. I forget. You might know what the planet they're talking about, Naboo or something like that. And they're from there. That's another thing that people believe.
People believe that TikTok is some kind of god. That will be next. That we got to get on our hands and knees and pray to TikTok. And if you think about it, it's kind of true. Social media is kind of like a god. If you look at it, so many people are so addicted to it, and they believe every fucking thing they hear. They can't get off the phone. If everything I see is somebody like this on the phone or a tablet or texting. So, I mean, if you think about it, it's electronic god. So, I mean, it is kind of like that. It's not that people are so addicted they can't live without it. They show people throwing fits because they can't be on the phone for 10 minutes and play. Like the one lady that was stealing the internet from the guy next door, and she attacked him because he found out and shut it off. She was so crazy over the not being able to go on the internet and play video games. So I mean, that kind of is like that. They're fanatics with electronics. There's people who they act like it's a god. So I mean, it kind of is true, James. Like, people can't get off the internet. There's people who died playing Warcraft because they were so addicted to the game or talking to people on internet, and they have to call everybody and have to have everybody in their business. So in some ways that is kind of like that. It's kind of like a religion. Not like it's been announced or anything, but if you think about it, there's people who cannot live not doing a show on TikTok or doing a Vibe or whatever you call them, a blog, or going on and doing a video. And every 5 minutes they got to do something about their life. It's an addiction, and it kind of is like they're obsessed with it, so it becomes like a god. So I don't know, what's your theory about that? That's kind of true.
Yeah, people definitely create idols. You know, that's one of the 10 Commandments, and that's the whole thing. Like when the Israelites were going through the desert after they escaped Egypt, and Moses went up to get the 10 Commandments, and he comes back down, and they're worshiping a golden calf. You know, it's the same thing. Their phones, TikTok, all that have become that golden calf for people. You know, where they put that ahead of God. They put that ahead of everything else in their life. The Anunnaki thing is so interesting. We got to do a show about that, because that ties in with the Sumerian list of kings and so many different things. That's way too much to get into now, because it's like probably 45 minutes of information, but that is a very cool story, and we definitely need to do a show about that. My favorite of all of this stuff is the flat earthers, and that's one of the guilty pleasures that I have, is kind of poking the flat earthers. I belong to several flat earther pages and groups on Facebook, and I'll go in there every once in a while just to see what they're talking about, just to kind of give them some jazz, because that's the most ridiculous shit. And you see it on TikTok a lot too, to where these people will be talking about it, and they'll take passages from the Bible that in Genesis that talks about the firmament, and they'll say, see, that's saying that there's a dome over the earth and it's flat. I'm like, nah, dude, the firmament is the atmosphere, bro. What are you talking about? You know, science shows you that flat earth is bullshit. Just open your eyes and look. Everything in the universe is round. Everything is circular. You know, look at the sun. The sun, you can look up and see it. It's circular. When it has what they call coronal mass ejections, which is when the sun shoots like superheated plasma out of it. It's like some people call them solar storms that don't really understand it completely, but they're coronal mass ejections. They shoot plasma out. And what happens is that matter gets shot out from the sun, and it spreads, and then it comes back together. And over time, it always turns into a circular shape, always. Because that's what everything in the whole universe, it all comes together. And it forms into mass. And it grows and grows as more stuff comes onto it. And there's some theories that that's how planets are formed. You know, if you go all the way back to the Big Bang, supposedly all of the matter in the universe was one ball, one little ball, super dense material, and it exploded and spread it out. And as it exploded, all of this matter started coming together and creating planets. That's the same thing with what happens with the sun. When it shoots out that plasma, it always comes together and forms into a ball. Everything in the universe, everything does that. Everything, even if you look at tides, if you look at air currents, if you look at radio waves, if you look at microwaves, everything is curved. Everything is circular. Nothing is flat. You know, so I don't understand. Like, you look in nature, you never see straight lines in nature. You know, everything has a little bit of curvature to it. Everything. So why would you think that out of every planet, every moon, every object that we see, even asteroids are round, even comets are round, everything that we see in the universe is round? Why would you think that the Earth is flat? It makes no sense. Why would we be the only exception to the universal rule of everybody else in the universe being round? Why would it just be us that's flat? It makes no sense. And they'll always throw out all these Bible verses to try to prove it, but they're just reading the Bible wrong. They don't understand what they're quoting. And then you'll have, it's funny because a lot of that shit originates on TikTok now. And then on YouTube, you'll have all these people that are reactors. Okay, they don't actually do anything themselves. All they do is watch other people's stuff and then say something every once in a while so they don't get a copyright strike. They do it with music a lot. You'll see them playing songs and they'll stop it every like 20, 30 seconds and say something and then start it up again. And they're reactors. That's what they're called. And there's this whole group of them that only does TikTok videos now. And you'll always know because the titles of their videos are all the same. It's always TikToks that'll make you question reality. TikToks that will make you redefine reality. TikToks that'll make you wonder about reality. Something like that. It's always the same kind of title. And what they do in these videos is they'll sit there in their chair and just like I have on the screen now, where it's me and then old boy over here, right? They'll have the video playing, the TikTok that they're trying to talk about, and they'll be on the other side. And they'll just watch the TikTok and just sit there and watch it. And then once the TikTok is over, they'll say, oh, that's real stuff right there. And then they'll go to the next TikTok, you know, and that's where like a lot of this flat earth stuff on YouTube is coming from now too, is a lot of these reactors. They'll watch a TikTok that says, in Genesis, it talks about the firmament, and that means that it's a dome over the earth. And then the TikTok will end, and then the reactor will go, that's real. The Bible says it. It is a firmament. That's a big dome on the earth. It's like a big salad bowl. You put your salad in a salad bowl, and you stir it all around. Let's watch another TikTok. And then they push the button, and they watch another TikTok. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But they're getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. Now, why are they getting that many views? Is it because people enjoy watching this so much? Or is it because that YouTube is promoting this stuff? They're pushing it out there on people's recommended, right? So when you go onto YouTube, I watch a lot of YouTube. So when you go on YouTube on your home screen, it'll have your recommended videos. And all of those videos have something to do with something you've watched before. So if you're into the paranormal and conspiracy kind of stuff, you're going to end up seeing these ridiculous TikTok reaction videos. So they'll pop up and they'll always have some catchy thumbnail that makes you go, oh, what's that there? That looks crazy. And so then you click the video and you watch it. And all it is somebody reacting to other people's TikToks. But YouTube is constantly putting this stuff out there on the home screens, trying to make people watch it because they want us dumb for some reason. You know, they want us to watch that stuff because they don't want us to watch stuff that's actually giving you good information. Because the stuff that gives you real information that goes against narratives that they don't want people to know about, those people don't ever get pushed. You never get recommended one of those videos. And a lot of those people end up getting shadow banned, right, and kicked off of YouTube. Whether it's a political person that says stuff that's against the Democrat Party, they end up getting banned, or whether it is somebody who is talking about stuff the government's doing, you know, with aliens or stuff the government's doing with experiments and stuff like that, stuff that they're not supposed to be talking about, right away they get shadow banned and then they end up getting kicked off of YouTube. It happened to our show. We did several shows talking about stuff that the government don't want you to know about. And we went from getting 10 to 15,000 views the first day I put it up to getting 10 views the first day I put it up. Okay? Now, you can't tell me that anything I said or anything that old boy said pissed off 10,000 people enough that they said, you know what? Fuck them. We're not watching the videos anymore. It's impossible. There's no way. I had people messaging me saying, dude, why am I not subscribed to your channel anymore? Did you kick me off or something? And I said, no, I don't even know if you can do that. I don't even know if you can unsubscribe somebody from your channel once they're subscribed. I have no idea how any of that shit works. Old boy said it on We're Screwed this week. He said, I'm not very good on a computer and high tech stuff sometimes. That's 100% the truth. I'm a high tech redneck, but I'm not that high tech. You know what I mean? I know the basics. So I don't know how YouTube works as far as how to unsubscribe people, if that's even a possibility. I have no idea. But I had people that would message me and ask me, why am I not subscribed to your channel anymore? I subscribed to your channel. I hit the notification bell. A week later, I'm not subscribed to your channel anymore. So I went and I resubscribed to your channel again so I could see staring. And then next time, I'm like, where's staring? It's not on my recommended. I went and checked your channel and I'm not subscribed again. What's going on? I have no idea. So I started looking into it, right? Researching, trying to figure out what the fuck is happening. And that is being shadow banned. That's what YouTube does to you. They will not recommend your videos anymore. They will not show your subscribers that you've put anything up. It won't show up on their list. And they'll even go as far as to unsubscribe people from your channel. It's funny because we did one show. I'm not even going to say the name of the show because I don't want worse things to happen. But we did one show that was pretty severe as far as some very powerful people and what they were doing. And it was stuff that they definitely did not want you talking about. And literally the next day, like we finished that show, I put it up, and that day I put it up, we lost like 5,000 subscribers like that, right? It wasn't 5 gone, 10 gone, 50 gone here, 100 gone here, 10 gone here. Over time, it was instantly boom to boom, right? Overnight, like in an instant, not even overnight, just that quick, gone. And then I have people messaging me asking me about it, you know, so you put 2 and 2 together, that tells you what they're doing, you know. So for some reason, they don't want good information to get out about stuff that they're trying to cover up. So instead, what they want to do, and I think that's the whole purpose of TikTok, honestly, is to push misinformation and to push silly content that people are going to waste time watching, and then that's all you get recommended. And then, so that's all you watch, because most people aren't going to go search out your channel by the name unless they are really, really big fans and they really want to see the show. They're just going to go onto their recommended and say, you know, what's on today? What can I check out? Oh, this looks like a fun video. This looks like a fun video. Let me watch this. And so you can control what people watch by what you recommend. And if you can control what people watch, you can control what people think. Because if they're only getting fed nonsense, they're going to start thinking nonsense is true. If you tell a lie over and over and over again confidently, and you keep doing it, that lie becomes truth, because people start to accept that it's true. What do you mean that's not true? I heard it here, and I heard it here, and CNN said it, and this people said it, and these people said it. So they hear it in multiple places. They keep hearing the same crap over and over again. They're going to believe it's true. And that's why you have a ton of people now that believe the earth is flat, which is ludicrous. I mean, that shit, people say that was settled with Columbus, right, in 1492, but it was settled before that. In ancient Greece, the ancient Greek philosophers knew that the fucking planet was round. They talked about it in their writings. So that was long before Christopher Columbus ever sailed to America. Well, not really America, a little bit below America, Bahamas area, but you get my point. And people think that during that time period, everybody thought the world was flat and that he was going to sail off the end of the earth. And that's why nobody would fund him, you know. But Spain funded him. He got plenty of funding. You know, he was trying to find a way to China for a better trade route for spices. And he just bumped into a continent that he didn't even know was there. But he had no idea that the earth was flat. That's not what he thought at all. He knew the earth wasn't flat. If he'd have thought the earth was flat, why the hell would he sail straight towards what he thought was the edge? That doesn't make any sense. And if they all thought the world was flat, why the hell would the queen say, you know what? Give this dude several ships and all this money. Let's spend a bunch of our hard-earned fortune to send this guy to fall off the end of the earth. Would you do that? if you met a crackhead on top of the Empire State Building, say you're up there with your family visiting, and because you know you don't get to New York very often, and the Empire State Building's kind of an iconic place, you know, King Kong and all that stuff, climbing up the thing. So maybe you want to go and check it out. So you go up to the top of the Empire State Building, you're standing up there, and you're looking around, you're like, wow, this is amazing. Look, you can see the whole city down there. And some crackhead walks up to you and says, I'm having an expedition. I need funding. If you give me $500 for my expedition, I'm going to go off the edge of this building and prove that gravity doesn't exist. Would you give him $500 of your hard-earned money? No, because you know gravity exists. You know that if you step off the edge of that building, your dumb ass is going to fall and splat on the concrete. So if this idiot wants to do it, he can do it for free. You're not giving him your money. That's your kid's college money, man. You ain't spending that on this idiot. Now, same thing, right? Why would the Queen say, hey, you can have 3 ships and you can have all of these supplies and all this money to go? If everybody thought the world was flat and he was just going to sail right off the edge and thought he was crazy, that's what we're told, right? That's what everybody was taught. If that's true, why would the Queen do that? That doesn't make any sense. Especially when you're having to tax your people like crazy in order just to keep an army and keep your nobles happy so they don't cut your freaking head off. You know, people think that medieval life was a lot different than it actually was. They think that these kings and queens ruled with an iron fist and that they had unlimited wealth and they could do whatever they wanted. That was not the case. The kings and queen, yes, they were in charge of the country, but they were only in charge of the country because the other nobles allowed it. You had to keep the nobles happy. You had to give them land. You had to make sure they had money. You had to make sure they had power. Because if you pissed off the nobles, then you ended up beheaded. You ended up not in power anymore. So there's no way in hell that any queen of any country during that time period would have said, yeah, take all these resources and all this stuff and just sail it off the edge of the fucking world. No problem. There's no way, because the nobles would have had a shit fit, dude. They'd have freaked out. They said, what are you, crazy? You giving them all that stuff? We should get all that stuff. Why are you going to let him just sail off the edge of the planet with it? That doesn't make any sense. So it's complete bullshit. Don't believe it. So when you go down the list of all of the different things that these people say, you can disprove them one after another. I did a whole episode, me and Old Boy did, of Staring into the Abyss on flat Earth. And I went through scientifically, point by point by point, and proved every single one of them wrong. Every single one of them. I can give you a really easy way right now that you can tell. Not just looking at the planets and all that, because they'll say that that's fake, that it's just a spotlight in the sky or some other dumb shit, right? They always got some dumb excuse for whatever. But here's what you do. You want to know if the Earth is flat or round? Go to a beach. Preferably a beach that has like a port near it. Someplace where you can watch boats, right? And stand there on the dock and watch a boat leave. And just hang out. Have yourself a drink. Stare at some pretty girls, but keep looking back at that boat as it goes. And you'll notice something. The boat doesn't stay the same level and then just get too far to sea and disappear. What happens is that boat starts to sink into the water. The further away it gets, the more it goes down in the water. And the water will come up and cover parts of that boat. The further away it gets. As it gets really far away to the edge of where you're able to even see it, all you'll see is the top of the boat, and the rest of the boat will look like it's under the water. Now, is the rest of that boat actually under the water? Of course not. It's floating on the water the same way it was when it left the dock. That's common sense. But why does it appear that it's underwater? Why does it appear that it's sinking and the only thing you can see is the very top? That's because of the curvature of the Earth. It's such a long distance that your eye doesn't pick it up. But when it has a point of reference, which is that boat, as it sinks down, your eye can judge, hey, that looks like it's going underneath the water. You can actually see the curvature of the Earth that way. You can do the same thing in planes. If you're flying in planes, you can see the curvature of the Earth if you're looking out the window at the right time. There you go. So that's one easy way right there that you can disprove the flat Earth theory. It doesn't cost you anything. It's easy as hell to do. No problem at all. There's no reason to believe that nonsense ever, because that's exactly what it is nonsense.
Fuck the flat earth bullshit. You know what? We've been going through this, just like the center of the earth thing too. You forgot about that one. And I actually believe that more than I believe the flat earth, that there's stuff, because there's we did a show about the children that came out, or they were blue or something, and they said they came from another place in the earth, you know, the center of the earth thing, that in the center, you know, in hollow earth. That's it. And I believe that more than I believe in flat earth. The flat earth is bullshit. Columbus would have fell off the fucking the map, like they showed, like you see the old maps, then it showed it, and it like fell off, and you show water. This is just another ridiculous thing that I see people, and like you said, I've seen them arguing about it, and how do you prove this? Just like they said the moon landing was fake. What people don't realize is the moon landing is why it looks fake, is what the original footage got fucked up. So they didn't have to redo it again or something. I read something about that. Like when they first landed, they fucked up the footage, and they had to do it over. So it looked like it was fake. And because I guess when they first went up there, something happened with the cameras, or something happened where they didn't record, so they had to redo it. So they think it was like in a Hollywood studio. Just so you know, James worked for NASA. He knows that there's planets there. He made something with the Mars. I believe that what they're doing in Mars anyway, they're seeding Mars. That's why they send the land rovers there all the time. And now if you're seeing it, they're starting to get water and shit. And I believe that, but that's getting off the topic. But I believe the hollow earth theory more than I've ever believed. And I don't really believe that. But I mean, it's not impossible. Like, I believe maybe in the ocean, that's where that's going on. I believe there's cities in the ocean. We don't see it. We don't know. When do you know 8% of the ocean? That's how ignorant people are. They don't realize, like, they seen that giant sea turtle. It looks fake. No, giant sea turtles get that big. They're huge. People don't realize how big these things really are. They see TV and cartoons, and they think this bullshit about them. They're not. Wolves are huge, especially timber wolves. They're fucking huge. They're big fucking animals. Orcas are huge. See, if you ever seen blue whales, you ever go see whale watching, you'll see how big they are. They're huge. Sperm whales are huge animals. They're the biggest thing on earth. I think some of them get to 100 feet long, and they're gentle. They're very gentle. That you've never really seen anything of a whale killing, like those kind of whales killing anybody. Even orcas don't kill anybody except once or twice, and those are in captivity. Most of the time, they know the difference. They're smart. Whales are actually very loving animals. They show them. They'll come up, people touching them. You know, people swim with them. They're just gentle giants. But if you ever seen how big they are, they're massive. They look like a little speck. But like I tell people, I think the ocean has a lot of secrets. I think Antarctica has a lot of secrets. But the flat earth theory, and there's people who believe it. I see it all the time. They believe that the world's flat. They also believe that the moon landing never happened. We've never left the Earth. It was all on Hollywood and stuff like that. And people believe that. That's a show we should do too, about the moon being fake. I've heard a lot about that bullshit too. That's another conspiracy theory going around.
We did that show.
We did do that show. It was a long time ago. Sorry, guys. It was like 5-6 years ago when we did it. The Flat Earth, sure, we did that years ago too. We've done such good shows, guys. You got to realize we're on like 350, 400 shows now. So I mean, we've done so many shows. We forget. Fuck, we're getting older too. We're not young like we used to. We're getting up there. But he's right. We got shadow banned because we would tell the truth about shit and they didn't like it. And we made certain shows, and as soon as that happened, we were flying up, and all of a sudden, boom. I mean, we'll get views. We get thousands of views over time, but we were just blowing up, and all of a sudden, because we said certain shit. And it is funny, because when I started doing the show, I got confronted, and I know I don't want to say the name, but a certain organization that doesn't do this wanted me to become something. And I told them no, because my family's involved in them. And just recently, I found my mom wants to get involved with them, and I'm like, yeah, that's on you, but I don't want involved in it. But they never do that. And right after that, we had issues. They don't like when we say stuff. Trust me.
We're very controversial. May cuss a lot, swear, whatever. We're nothing like anything out there. There's nothing like that. They have a guy in Pennsylvania and California and Virginia doing all this shit. They don't do that. We're Screwed is very unique. It's like Howard Stern on crack with fucking Revolution Radio. We don't lie, and we just tell you what it is. Now, don't get me wrong. We might get something wrong, and we'll admit it. We're not going to sit there and say we know everything. If we're wrong, we'll go on there and say, hey, we're sorry. We were misinformed. We're human, and that's what happens. James, very smart. If he's wrong, though, he's not going to sit here and lie to you. Not like some people who lie and say, one day we went to this haunted mansion, and I was videotaping everything. But then I wanted to punch my camera guy in the face, but instead I strangled myself till I threw up. And then I went outside, and I wanted to punch the wall, and I did. And all of a sudden I had this evil feeling like I was going to attack everyone, but I didn't. But then my camera guy, he lit a cigarette up, and it looked like there was a ghost in it when he took a puff. And that's all I'm going to say. We know where I'm going with this, who that is. It's just the point is, people believe bullshit. It's how you make money. And I'm not saying we're doing it. I'm just saying that if you're a salesman, you can sell a ketchup popsicle to an Eskimo in a hot day. And that's what they do. They lie to people. Or they sell somebody who lives in the ocean a glass of water. I mean, not an ocean, not like lives in the ocean, a boat, and sell them another boat. That's better off. I'm sorry, sorry about that. But I was showing an example. It's like me having a margarita, but buying another one because that one has a different kind of color in it. It's blue, and then I have the one that's red, but it's the same flavor, the same exact fucking thing. It just has a little bit different tint. It's being a salesman. It's when you go buy a car. You see this fucking car right here? You get air conditioning. You get it. It warms your ass up. It gives you a back massage. It fucking rubs your balls. And then you get in there, and it says, "Oh yeah, $49.99." When you get in there, this tax, this little hidden fee, $62.99 after taxes out the door. And after you leave the door, it goes out $5,000. You lose value. That's what I'm saying. But people still fall for it. And I'm just showing you example through life with exactly what was going on with, the whole, the eclipse. We were all going to die for 14 days, 10 days of darkness. The world was going to go into riots. And I had people telling me this shit, and they believed it. And a lot of stuff like TikTok. There are aliens flying over the White House. There's some truth to that, but then they're saying that was an old video. But I believe some of the videos on that. But then they'll show like a shooting star, and it's a fucking alien coming here, and it's not. It's just a meteor shower. People want something so bad, but instead of really wanting it, they just want to get 1,000 views so they can become famous. Because famous is all that matters. The 15 minutes of fame, that's why you see everybody getting in fights, recording it. You have 10, 15 people. Come on, motherfucker, kick his ass. Look at this motherfucker on here. He's kicking his ass. He's kicking. Oh, yeah, look at him. Look at Uncle Pete. Look at what he's doing. It's people have this aggression to become famous or want to be included in something. They'll believe anything. If me and James said we got a alien in our house, people are going to think we're fucking crazy. But if we kept saying it, people are going to believe us. If we show pictures of it, somebody's going to believe us. Now, what's going to happen is that alien, they had coffee and tea with him yesterday. That's not what really happened, but that's the exaggeration that's going to come on. He hangs out and he stays the night out there and they play pool together. It's just showing you example what I'm saying is it's getting so exaggerated. Exactly what the Vegas thing. Oh, these aliens came down and they were hiding under there. Now they got cloaks and now they're disappearing. So I mean, that's always going to happen. Just like when they do the videos, like the Earth was flat. It had some guy that goes back in this time. They had this book where it showed them with the pictures of the Earth being flat and they're falling off the boats are falling off the thing like you see in Disney movies. They show them falling off like a square. The Earth is square or something. They're falling off a fucking, the water onto to nothing. The world is not square. It would no. Sorry, it's never going to be. It's not flat either. It's somewhat circular. There's nothing perfect to it, but it's pretty similar to a circle. Like he said, everything's pretty circular. But people want to argue because they just want to be right. And it's just like saying it. The moon's, the moon, say the moon is, yellow, or it just looks like it's really like white or something. But somebody's going to say it's red. And some other motherfucker's going to say that's orange. And some other guy's going to say blue. It doesn't matter. It's just that people believe what they want to believe. And that's just what happens, brother.
I think the bottom line, we kind of went all over the place on this show. But I think the bottom line, we're talking about all of this new age stuff, and I think you can kind of boil it down to a simple lesson. Anytime anybody tells you that they have some ancient knowledge, some completely different way of thinking or a different way of doing something that will give you some sort of superpowers, or that in some way you're going to be God's chosen if you do this thing or that thing, and they want you to pay for it. That's always part of it. Every one of these things. The Breatharians, you got to pay. You go in, you do workshops, you learn, you got to pay. Scientology, those weirdos, you got to pay. Every single one of these new age cults, every one of these gurus, every one of these things, you always have to pay. So anything like that you go into and they charge you money is bullshit. Period. Every single one of them. If they truly were people of God, if they truly wanted to show you the way to enlightenment, they wouldn't charge you money to do it. They would be happy to give you the good news. I've preached on here I don't know how many times about Jesus and about God. And have I ever asked you for money? Ever? For anything? No. This show's 100% free. It's always going to be 100% free. Now, yes, there is a collection plate when you go to churches, but you don't have to give to it. You are perfectly able to walk into that church, sit in a pew, listen to a sermon, and walk right out without giving a penny. Nobody makes you give money. The places that make you give money in order to be part of it, always, 100% of the time, is bullshit. So that's a good way to judge things. Whenever you see something that is completely different than anything you've ever seen before, some new religion, some new spirituality, some new path to enlightenment, and they're charging you cash, they're full of shit. Also, every single one of you inside of you has a built-in bullshit detector. Every single one of us has something in us that every time we hear some nonsense, alarm bells go off. Somebody will say, they faked the moon landing. Ding, 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 ding. Bullshit detected. Every time somebody says, that the world is flat. Ding, 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 ding. Bullshit detected. It goes off inside of you. It's like a smoke alarm. And it'll keep on going off in your brain, just louder and louder until you listen. You know what the truth is. You know that the majority of all of these new age religions and new age cults and all that, they're all bullshit. Because inside of you, you know what's real. Inside of you, you know what's right and what's wrong. Every single one of us knows our entire lives. That's why when you do something wrong, you know it and you feel bad for it. Even if you're one of those people that isn't like, I feel guilty that I did that to that person, you still have that twinge inside of you that says, that wasn't a good thing to do. Probably shouldn't have done that. Now you might be a psychopath. You might be a sociopath. You might be somebody who doesn't give a fuck. And you might say, screw them. I like hurting people. But inside, you still know what you're doing is wrong. Now, whether you give a damn or not, that's a whole different thing. You could be spiritually dead and just so lost that you're so away from God that you're not going to feel that guilt anymore. But you still know inside of yourself the difference between right and wrong. You know, old boy is not a man of God. That has been well established. Old boy knows the difference between right and wrong. You know, old boy will tell you, I'm not going to do that because that's not right. You know, he looks at it as honor. But it's a simple difference between right and wrong. It's morality. You know, every single one of us knows. So whenever you hear some nonsense like Scientology, that we were put here by aliens, they flew and dropped an egg into a volcano, this is nutso stuff. Or whether you're hearing some crap like what the Mormons are talking about. They walked out into the woods and they found these golden discs and they got magic underwear they can put on and all this nonsense, right? Whenever you hear shit like that, inside your head, those bells go ding, 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 bullshit detected. You just know. Inside your gut, you're like, get the fuck out of here. That's nonsense, man. You know it's nonsense. That's all you need. You know, just, you've heard it since you were a little kid. Follow your gut. Your gut will tell you. How many times have you been going into a situation and your gut told you, this ain't a good idea. We shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't do this. I should stay here. I shouldn't go with these people to go to whatever party or to their house or whatever the hell the situation is. In here, you say, nah, I shouldn't do that. Now, sometimes you listen and sometimes you don't. But how many times have you not listened and went and then something horrible happens? You get in a car wreck or you get in trouble because they do some dumb shit and then you end up in jail or you end up ruining your reputation or people talking smack about you or something because you were involved in something that you knew you shouldn't be involved with. Now, on the surface in your mind, there's no reason why you shouldn't have went. You know, there's no logical reason. There's no way you could have known that just going to someone's house to hang out from the bar was going to be a bad idea. You know, if you knew the people, it's not like you're a woman and you're going with some big scary guy and you're all by yourself. You know, you could be your friends and you just, something inside you says, yeah, I shouldn't go over to his house tonight, man. It just doesn't feel right. Something's wrong, you know, and then your friend leaves and gets in a car wreck or something, you know. That's happened to me before. I had a group of friends so I live down in the country. So our idea of going and doing fun stuff is a little bit different than most people's probably. But all my friends were going to hop in the car late at night and go down to the bridge and drink, what they call a low water bridge. The reason they call it low water bridge, you all be ready for this. This is going to blow your mind. Because it's a bridge that goes over a low water, right? There's a little creek there, and there's not a whole lot of water. So they're not very original in the country sometimes. They don't waste a lot of time naming stuff real fancy. They just, what is that? I don't know, it's a bridge going over low water. All right, it's called low water bridge. So that's where they were going. They want to go down there, park on the side of the road. Everybody gets out the car, and they have some beer, and they smoke some weed, and they bullshit, and tell lies, and whatever, right? So that's fun. That's what people do in the country. We go cruise around, try to pick up chicks. If we're lucky enough to pick up chicks, we take them out somewhere in the mountain, and we get drunk, and we go skinny dipping and do stuff like that. So that's what everybody's planning on doing that night, and they wanted me to go. Now, at the time, I'm a young guy. You know, I'm just out of high school. I'm single, so there's no reason why I can't go mingle. You know what I mean? And there's some pretty smoking hot chicks that were going. So there was every reason for me to say, you know what? I like to taste the beer. I like the taste of a good woman. I think I'll go down to that there low water bridge and get my freak on, right? No reason I couldn't have, but something inside me said, you might not want to do that. That's not a good idea. That same ding, ding, ding bullshit detective that I was telling you about, that same ding, ding, ding went off. Except for bullshit detective, it said danger, danger, danger. So I decided I'm going to listen to my inner voice, and I'm not going to do it. So I said, no, guys, I think I'm just going to hang out here and play Nintendo. I'm not going to go out. And they thought I was crazy. They said, Hershey, are you nuts? You see these chicks? They are fucking hot. You see how hot these girls are? Dude, they want you, bro. They went and saw your band play last weekend. They want you. If you go, they're yours, man. You're going to have a really, really good night. You'd rather sit here and play Mega Man? Are you crazy? But something inside me said, you know what? Mega Man's looking pretty good. I like his little pea shooter. I'm going to hang out here and I'm going to play Mega Man and try to beat a couple bosses instead of going with them hot chicks. So they leave. And I'm sitting there, and about half hour later, I get a phone call from one of my friends from the hospital. They had went around a turn, and there was a deer in the road, and they swerved to avoid the deer and drove off a fucking cliff. Rolled down. One of my buddies, who I would have been sitting with in the back, flew through the damn window and left the vehicle through the window and rolled down separate. So there was a lot of severe injuries, and very well could have been a fatality if I was in the car. Who knows what would have happened to me? I'm a bigger guy. You know, I'm not a little skinny fellow like them. I'm a big, stocky guy. I wouldn't have fit through that damn window. I'm too big to fit through that window. You know what I mean? So chances are I'd have been in hurting status. But I didn't go because I felt like there was a reason why I shouldn't. So that's a very, very long, drawn-out old man way of telling you, listen to your inner voice. That bullshit detector you got inside you, pay attention to it. Because when you hear them saying, well, we just got to hook you up to this here machine and measure your thetans, and then we can raise the levels and then you'll feel better. Or you hear somebody say, yeah, all you got to do is put on your magic underwear and then you'll be superstar. Or you hear somebody say, you don't have to eat, you don't have to drink, all you have to do is breathe. There's this prana, and it comes from the universe, and you breathe through it, and it gives you all the nutrients you need. Inside that brain of yours, if it's working proper, it should be going ding, 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 bullshit detected. And you ought to not do it. I see that little old lady that I was talking about. Her bullshit detector either didn't work or she chose to ignore it. And even after trying it herself and doing that 30-day experiment, and by the way, she didn't even make it 30 days. She made it like halfway, and she had to quit. But even after that, she still didn't listen to her bullshit detector, and she still told everybody that it was possible, but she just wasn't strong enough. So I would just hope that you guys would be smart enough to be able to see when you're being conned, you know? This audience, I think the majority of you probably are. Society at large, society as a whole, I do not have as much faith because I don't know what happened to people, man. I've said it on this show. I say it on We're Screwed. I just don't understand how people got so damn dumb. It doesn't make any sense. It seems to me like when I was growing up, there wasn't that many dumb people. Now, yeah, you had dumb people. Don't get me wrong. We all had that person in class that ate glue. Every single one of us had that dummy, right? And you would just be like, oh, that guy's, he's a mess. He's going to end up in jail or something bad's going to happen to him. There's just no way he's going to be successful in life. He's just a paint licker, man. That's what he is. And there's just no way around it. We all knew people like that. But it seems like nowadays, it's almost everybody you see. People are so clueless about so many different things, and I don't understand why. You would think it would be the opposite, because when I was growing up, if you were somebody like me who knew a lot of stuff and was smart and liked to learn, people called you a nerd, and they'd beat the piss out of you, right? I didn't get the piss beat out of me very often because I'm a big guy, you know, and I can fight. So I would do the beating a lot of times when I would get messed with. But they would still try sometimes, and they would call you a nerd, and it wasn't a cool thing to be a nerd when I was coming up. And then we had the Revenge of the Nerds movie, and now with computers and everybody carries around one of these, a cell phone, that is essentially a computer. So everybody's a nerd anymore. Now it's cool to be a gamer. Now it's cool to be a coder. Now it's cool to do all this stuff on the computer and to know things. So you would think that with being a nerd and being smart being made cool, that there'd be more people that were actually smart. But instead, it's this weird dichotomy of people that think they're smart, but aren't. Like, they say a lot of big words. You know, they don't talk country like I do. They say a whole bunch of big words, fancy $2 words that sometimes you got to look up. What the hell does that word even mean? Because they're so big. But when you boil down what they're saying, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. But the problem is everybody watching isn't smart either. So the people will use a bunch of big words and people will think, well, this guy knows what the hell he's talking about. He said words I don't even understand. So I'm just going to say what he said and then I'll be smart. But the problem is he's an idiot. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's either lying to you or he heard somebody else say it, so he's just repeating that bullshit. You know, people don't ever do their own research, ever, anymore at all, about anything. They just blindly follow like sheep. And it is crazy. I mean, we saw during the pandemic, I talk about that all the time too. I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but people just blindly followed everything everybody was saying. And it was so obviously bullshit. Why didn't their bullshit detector go off? Why didn't they say, wait a minute, this is bullshit? It says right on the box the damn thing doesn't work. Get out of here. You know? But nobody did. Everybody just followed. And then they would shame people that didn't follow. And it's just this, we're in a crazy, crazy place in this world. And it's scary sometimes. You know, we talk about scary stuff on this show all the time, guys. We talk about vampires and werewolves and monsters and woo, all this scary stuff. But the real scary stuff is society, man. The real scary stuff is these paint-licking people that don't know anything, but think that they do. So they just go out there telling everybody what to do all the time. Do y'all realize that the majority of people that run our country are stupid? They don't know a damn thing. And they're running stuff, man. They're in control. That's scary, man. That's scary. I want to talk about something that old boy talked about earlier, too. That when he was talking, he was going through all this different stuff, and one thing stuck out in my head. He was talking about self-driving cars. I want to talk about self-driving cars, too, because I saw a thing about that today, and they're actually operational, man. There's people that are using them. They have, like, taxi services now that are all self-driving cars, where you go into an app on your phone, and you type in, like a, what is that, Uber is what it's called, I think? Like one of those kind of things. And you type it in, and you say, I want to go.
Uber.
And Uber, yeah. And then they come and pick you up and take you to where you want to go, right? But they have one now that's all self-driving cars. Like, there is no drivers. The car just comes and picks you up and takes you and drops you off and leaves. And you just pay by credit card. That's crazy, dude. There are so many instances of those things losing control and running off the road and stuff that I've read about. I've never seen one myself. They don't have them out here in the mountain where I live. Like, you don't have that. Sometimes you think you do. Sometimes you see a car going down the road and there's nobody driving. You're like, oh my God, is that one of those self-driving cars? But then, like, you look a little harder and you see a little bit of white hair just barely sticking above the steering wheel. And you're like, oh, that's just an old lady. Because they drive like this. They're so tiny they can't see over. That's scary too. But I wanted to ask old boy, in California, there where you live, because you live out there in the desert, but you're kind of by LA and stuff, and you go down that area. Do you see a lot of self-driving cars? Is that a thing there? And if so, what do you think about that?
It's not a thing yet because the insurances won't cover it. The only cars I know that do that are Teslas, and you have to pay the $8,000 to $10,000 to get it put in. And again, insurances won't cover it, so they haven't done it here yet. I've been hearing they're gonna do it sooner than later. I haven't seen it here, and I only live 60 miles away from LA. I live like San Bernardino County is weird. I only live like 30 minutes away from LA County. It's weird. It's just, but LA itself, I'm about 60, 70 miles away. Not yet. They're talking about it, but they do have the Teslas that can drive by themselves. But again, you got to pay. They dropped it. It was 10 to 12,000. Now it's going down to 8 to 9. But insurances won't cover it because my friend has a couple people I know have Teslas. One guy pays for it, and he said that the problem is the insurances won't cover it because it's not a human being driving. So the problem is the insurance companies are still saying they're not going to cover it because if you get in an accident, who are you going to sue? The machine, the car? Because the problem is it's not the person driving. it's the machine itself. So it's going to be a little bit different, because then you could sue that they were putting a robot instead of a human. There's a lot of red tape right now with that, and I get it, because right now, if you get in an accident and there's no one there, who are you going to blame? If somebody dies because of the robotic, they're going to sue the company or the person who owns the car. And that's why the insurance companies don't work. Right now in California, the insurance is ridiculous. Mine went up $40 a month because there's so many accidents, because there's 39 million people live in California. And like I said, I'm trying to get over this, but there's so many idiots on the road that they're getting 30,000 accidents in the last 2 years. That's why they're raising the prices here. And I know it's because of inflation. But yes, the electric car thing is something that is right now not becoming, it's going to be a thing soon, because with no driver, because you can do that. Right now, like I said, the insurance companies haven't made a decision yet, but they are going to do it in the next year or two. Once that happens, I think you're going to have people, because then you can't rob the person that's driving. They're trying, and it's also just so you know, minimum wage is supposed to go up to $18 an hour in 6 months. California's already at $16.50 right now, and that's just for the minimum wage. And the restaurants are 20, they're going to go up to 21. The health workers going to be 25. And California is going to go to 18, and that's just the state. Anywhere else, like counties, like LA County is going to go up to 20 something. So yeah, everything's getting so expensive. So that's probably why they're not going to pay Lyft people, because it's Lyft, and then the one you were saying, Uber, and you can do anything with people coming and getting your food. The only issue is they're going to still have probably people picking up DoorDash and stuff. Like, you can just have somebody order your groceries or your food now. That's what I do. I use DoorDash, and it's amazing. I don't even go to the store anymore, because I pay us $10 a month, and they come and bring my stuff to me, and I never leave the house. So it's pretty cool.
You don't have any of that, bro. We don't have DoorDash, we don't have Uber, we don't have Lyft, none of that exists here. That's crazy. It's like it's crazy, guys, because it's like we live in two different worlds, me and old boy. That doesn't exist here at all. It's a completely different world.
It probably exists in parts of Virginia. It's not.
It was a city. It's not here where I live. Like, I don't even know what all those things are called, because I've never even seen them. You know what I mean? Like, there's parts here, like my house, I can't even get a pizza delivered here. Like, nobody even comes here because I'm so far out. Crazy. I think we've been going a long, long time. So let's do your shout outs, and we'll wrap up.
Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It went a little bit long. We went just like we ended up talking about everything. That's just what happens. There's only so much you can talk about, and so we're going to get to other subjects. That's what always happens, and it opens up for other shows. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed Staring into the Abyss every Sunday nights at 12 a.m. Eastern, 9 Pacific, and the Best of Show Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. You want to follow us, subscribe on James Hirsch's YouTube page, watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Cloud. He'll tell everything except Apple. YouTube, follow us there, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of it. We're on everything. You want merchandise, hats, stuff, he'll tell you where to get it. You get shirts, beanies, all kinds of cool shit. That being said, it's fucking almost summer, guys. Couple more weeks. It's getting hot, over 100 degrees yet the last 2 days in California. I hope you're having a good night. Misfits, sugar ladies, monster lovers, demon hunters. I fucking love you, and blessed be.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, it's hot as hell here too. And the weird thing here is the humidity in Virginia is absolutely insane. Like, it was in the 90s today, dude. And just going out to the truck to run to the store, man, my shirt was just soaked with sweat. It is so hot, and it just weighs down on you. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff on this episode. It was kind of a fun one. Make sure that you go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/James Hershey Jr., and subscribe there and check it out, because we brought back a show called We're Screwed that we do. And we did our first episode back of We're Screwed this week, and it's up on the channel right now. You can go and check it out. It is a hell of a show. It was a hell of a lot of fun, and we talk about all kinds of outlandish shit on that show. and it was really, really good. But the only place you can see that is either the YouTube channel or on Spotify or the Rumble channel as well. That's not on the radio. That's not every place else that Staring is. But just because of what we talk about. I mean, we talk about a lot of stuff. It's completely uncensored, and it's just a fun time. So make sure you go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/James Hershey Jr. Subscribe and check it out. It's a fun show. This week on We're Screwed, I wanna get back into the self-driving cars a little bit and go a little bit deeper into that and talk about that and talk about some of the. I'll try to pull up some of the articles that they were talking about it not being safe and some of the crashes and that kind of crazy shit, because there ain't no way in hell you get my redneck ass in a self-driving car. I'm driving it myself. That's the only self-driving car. It's myself driving that sumbitch. I ain't letting some computer monster drive it. No way. But in the description of every YouTube video is the link to the merchandise store that Old Boy was talking about. That's where you can get shirts and all the gear for Staring, for Tales from the Abyss, the TV show we do, and we're going to have a full line of We're Screwed merchandise coming soon. Basically, whenever I get around to making it, it'll be up there. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. I love you. And as always, it's up to you to make up your own mind, but try to listen to your bullshit detector, because it's going to tell you whether something's true or not. I love you. Appreciate you. And we'll catch you on the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.